Abby Holland and Hopper Caldwell are a couple who have been dating for nearly a year. Abby has disliked Christmas since her parents died and is content on staying home and taking care of other people's pets while they're away to celebrate the season. Hopper, who grew up loving Christmas, tries her best to make Abby fall in love with it again. One night, Hopper convinces Abby to go on a walking tour at Candy Cane Lane to look at the Christmas lights. Hopper loved it, but Abby didn't enjoy it as much, saying that she loves seeing Hopper happy. While walking, Abby sees a house and climbs it. They sit on the rooftop, but while they're talking, they hear the owner of the house shouting, telling them to leave. They panic and Abby slips. She ends up hanging off the roof of the house with both her hands holding onto the gutter. She falls and they run off before the owner of the house can catch them. They end up in an alley. Hopper spontaneously asks Abby to go home with her to her parents' home to celebrate Christmas, and Abby protests, saying that she can't because she has pets to look after. Hopper then tells her that she would love to wake up next to Abby on Christmas morning, and if spending time with her family on Christmas still doesn't convince Abby to love it, then she will stop trying. Abby gives in. The next morning, Hopper is having second thoughts. She goes downstairs to see Abby cooking breakfast. Hopper feels like she pressured Abby into saying yes to spending Christmas with her family and asks her again if she's sure, and she says yes, and that she already convinced her friend John to take care of the pets. That same day, Abby meets John to accompany her to pick up a ring. It turns out that she's been planning to propose to Hopper on New Year's, but that changed when Hopper invited her to go home with her. Abby sees this as the perfect opportunity to introduce herself to Hopper's parents and propose to her on Christmas morning. On their way to the Caldwells, Abby is telling Hopper how excited she is because it has been a long time since she celebrated Christmas. On the driver's seat, Hopper looks nervous. Hopper then reveals that she lied about already coming out to her parents, fearing it would interfere with her father's mayoral campaign. She promises to come out to her family after Christmas but asks Abby to pretend to be her straight roommate for the holiday, to which Abby reluctantly agrees. They pull up to Hopper's family mansion and Abby meets Hopper's father, Ted, her perfectionist mother, Tipper, and her artistic sister, Jane. She is welcomed by the family as Hopper's orphan friend who has nowhere else to go for Christmas. As Jane consoles her about her parents' death, Abby immediately tells her that it happened a long time ago and that she is okay now. Abby's mother gives them a tour of the house where they see Sloane's room, Hopper's eldest sister. The room is filled with trophies and Tipper tells Abby how brilliant Sloane was but gave up her career to take care of her twins. Next, they see Hopper's room where Abby sees a photograph of Hopper and her old high school boyfriend Connor. Jane then takes Abby to her old room. When Abby asks her why her room is in the basement, Jane tells her that when she was young, she had night terrors and her parents decided to build a room there so she won't wake everyone up with her screams. The room also did not have a lock since Jane was afraid that she would get locked in, but Tipper assures Abby that she would have total privacy. Later that night, they go to a fancy restaurant for dinner. There, Hopper's old boyfriend Connor shows up and ends up having dinner with them. At dinner, Tipper recounts their past family trip to their old house in Jackson Hole where Hopper and Connor cat chicken parks and had to be quarantined in the cabin for a week. Hopper then asks Abby to go with her to the ladies' room. There, she apologizes to Abby about the situation and Abby tells her that she's fine. Walking out of the restroom, they meet Hopper's ex-girlfriend Riley where she once again introduces Abby as her roommate. Back at the dinner table, they talk about Abby and she tells them that she's studying art history. Hopper's dad then tells her that he once went to Paris and spent his days there going to museums. Hopper looks over at Abby, thinking it's a good sign that she and her dad are getting along. Then, she sees Riley's parents from across the room and waves at them. She comments about their daughter's lifestyle choice, pertaining to her being gay. This comment concerns both Hopper and Abby, but they didn't say anything. At home, Hopper visits Abby in her room and apologizes to her again about how the night turned out. In the morning, Abby wakes up with Sloane's twin staring at her. Sloane tells them to leave Abby alone but they protest, saying that she's in their room. During breakfast, Sloane and Hopper go back and forth insulting each other. The family then decides to go ice skating for the day and Hopper and Sloane end up fighting after racing each other on the rink. Later that night, the family is getting ready for the charity party and Tipper asks Abby to take their picture in front of the Christmas tree. The pictures end up not being good enough for Tipper, which saddens Abby, wanting over anything else to make Hopper's parents love her. At the party, the family meets Carolyn and she leads them to Harry, a possible donor from the city council, who Ted wanted to impress. They leave Abby with Jane. While Sloane takes the twins to the kids' club, Abby sees Riley from the balcony and they acknowledge each other with a nod. Now sitting at a dinner table, Ted tells Harry about his plans to run for mayor. He's hoping for Harry to back him up during the election. Harry wants to make sure that Ted's family doesn't have anything that can jeopardize her reputation should she decide to support him, and Ted assures her that they have nothing to hide. Hearing this, Hopper panics and walks over to Abby asking for a drink to calm her nerves. Hopper's high school best friends arrive as well as her ex-boyfriend Connor. He asks if they could talk privately and she agrees. Abby gets a call from her friend John and he tells her to stop letting herself be dictated by Hopper's fears. After the call, Riley finds her. She tells Abby that she unintentionally heard her conversation on the phone and apologized. She then tries to tell Abby that she can relate to her situation. but Abby feigns ignorance, sensing Abby's discomfort. Riley excuses herself and goes back inside. As the party comes to an end, Ted announces that he's running for mayor and everyone cheers. Back at home, Abby is getting ready for bed when she gets a text from Hopper. Wanting to see her, Abby sneaks upstairs but Tipper finds her inside the utility closet. When asked why she's there, Abby lies, saying that she must have been sleepwalking. Abby returns to her room to find Hopper already there and they spend the night together. In the morning, the couple are woken up by a knock on the door. They hurriedly dress when they hear Tipper's voice asking to come in. Hopper hides behind the door and Tipper walks in with the twins in tow. As she's looking for the game console, Ted walks in and informs Tipper that he invited two extra guests to the Christmas dinner party. As they're taking, Abby stays by the door to hide Hopper. The twins noticed Hopper by the crack on the door but didn't say anything to their grandparents. When the visitors leave, Abby and Hopper breathe a sigh of relief, agreeing that they shouldn't sleep together again to avoid getting caught. In the kitchen, Sloane, Jane and the kids prepare gingerbread cookies. They talk about the white elephant, a gift exchange tradition that the family does during Christmas. Realizing that she needed to buy a gift herself, Abby informs them that she will just run out and buy something at the mall. With everyone busy with the Christmas preparations, Sloane takes Abby to the mall, needing someone to look after the kids while she buys presents for them. Sloane asks Abby to watch after them. She agrees. She leaves the kids to walk around the store while she herself is looking for a gift. The twins then decide to playfully slip an unpaid necklace into Abby's bag. As Abby is walking out of the store, the alarm goes off. She's taken to a utility room where the security guards interrogate her. Back home, Hopper argues with her dad, telling him that Abby would never shoplift. Ted and Tipper think it might be better if they keep Abby away from upcoming social events. Later that night, the family leaves for dinner, leaving Abby alone in the house. At this point, Abby feels even more of an outsider. Abby decides to have dinner and walk around town. She sees Riley and they agree to get drinks together. They end up at a gay bar, and the pair end up enjoying each other's company. Riley tells Abby about her past relationship with Hopper and how they fell apart. It turns out that Hopper and Riley were best friends in high school. They get into a relationship, but as soon as one of their friends found out, Hopper told the school that Riley was gay and won't leave her alone. Abby gets a text from Hopper to meet her at another bar. Abby arrives and sees Hopper drinking with her high school friends. Feeling left out, Abby tells Hopper that she's leaving to get some rest. Back at the bar, everyone else has gone home, leaving Hopper and Connor alone. As they're saying their goodbyes, Connor asks Hopper what the real reason for their breakup was and Hopper tells him that there was no one else but didn't tell him the real reason. In the morning, Abby checks up on Hopper but she wasn't in a good mood, telling Abby that she feels suffocated. Abby counters that she herself feels suffocated having to pretend that she's straight because Hopper is afraid to tell her parents about their relationship. Abby angrily walks out of Hopper's room and is met with Tipper about to enter the room herself. Tipper then asks Hopper to help her with the guest list. Back in her room, Abby tries to book a cab but it's too expensive since it's the day before Christmas. She then gets a call from her friend John apologizing to her about the way he treated her the past few days and promised to support her from now on. Feeling alone with no one to talk to, Abby calls Riley. They meet in town and she helps Abby find a gift for the white elephant. Unbeknownst to them, Hopper is also in town, buying wine and she sees them walking by the store window. Back at home, Tipper is preparing for the party and is getting more and more agitated by the minute. She calls everyone to come down so they can take another family photo. Abby arrives and apologizes to Ted about the misunderstanding at the mall, but Ted cuts her off, telling her to avoid more situations like that in the future. The guests arrive and the Caldwell's annual Christmas Eve party starts. Getting tired of the situation, Abby is relieved when her friend John arrives to pick her up. Hopper privately begs her to stay and as they are about to kiss, they are caught by Sloane who prepares to expose their relationship to the family. However, it turns out, Sloane has her own secret. She and her husband, Eric, are getting a divorce. The sisters get into a public fight, ending with Sloane outing Hopper as a lesbian, which Hopper tries to deny. Heartbroken, Abby leaves the house, with John following her, and the two talk about their stories of coming out to their respective families. Abby's parents were loving and accepting, while John's father threw him out of the house and didn't talk to him for 13 years. After realizing her fear of rejection caused her to hurt Riley and may cause her to lose Abby, Hopper finally tells her parents that she is a lesbian. This inspires Sloane to reveal her own secret and even Jane tells her parents how neglected she felt over the years. Despite all this, Abby still leaves with John, feeling she has been too hurt to give Hopper another chance. Hopper goes after Abby to apologize, confessing that she truly loves her and wants to build a life with her. Touched, and with encouragement from John, Abby forgives her and they share a kiss. The next morning, Ted apologizes to his daughters for making them feel they always had to meet his standard of perfection. He later gets a phone call from the campaign donor, who will support him only if Hopper suppresses any details about her personal life. Ted rejects the offer, The Caldwells then take a family picture, with Abby included this time. 1 year later, Abby and Hopper get engaged. Jane has become a best-selling author with her fantasy novel, The Shadowed Dreamers, and Ted has won the mayoral election. Subscribe to watch more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like, it really helps the channel out. Thank you for watching.